Hello and welcome to YNWA Transfer News, your ultimate source for all Liverpool FC transfer news. Our first news is this.
Ex-Liverpool star makes prediction over Andy Robertson's future after Arne Slot decision. Andy Robertson's primary concern will be guiding Scotland to their first World Cup since 1998. However, following the Tartan Army's crucial match against Denmark, he'll return to his duties with Liverpool in what could potentially be his final season at Anfield. Since his transfer from Hull City in the summer of 2017, Robertson has claimed every significant domestic, European, and global trophy available at Liverpool. The 31-year-old could achieve another major career milestone on Tuesday evening. The Scotland captain is poised to earn his 90th cap in the critical match against Denmark at Hampden Park. The stakes couldn't be higher. A win for the Tartan Army would end their 28-year drought of playing in a World Cup final. Anything less, and it will be the Danes securing their place in the 2026 tournament in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Robertson enters the game having regained his position at his club. The left-back had to sit on the sidelines as Milos Kerkez started the first 9 Premier League matches of the season for the Reds. However, with the new signing from Bournemouth struggling to find form, Robertson was brought back for the morale-boosting 2-0 victory over Aston Villa at home. He then kept his spot for the impressive 1-0 triumph over Real Madrid at Anfield and the disappointing 3-0 loss at Manchester City prior to the international break. Despite the veteran player managing to secure a spot in Arne Slot's starting lineup, his future at Liverpool remains uncertain. Robertson's contract is due to expire at the end of the season, and he recently confessed that there have been no discussions about a new deal over the summer. Atletico Madrid showed interest in him, and rumors suggest that his childhood club, Celtic, would like to bring him back to Scotland. Former Liverpool fullback Jason McAteer has offered his thoughts on the situation, stating, "It is a funny one with Andy Robertson and Liverpool. Really, I think from how he has served Liverpool in his career, I think it will more be a case of Liverpool giving him the option. They won't stand in his way if he wants a move to Celtic. I am sure he will be offered a new deal, but obviously on different terms. Liverpool has come to the point where Manchester City were last season, where they have exhausted their team, really. Jurgen Klopp exhausted the team, but he had great success with James Milner, Jordan Henderson, Adam Lallana, etc. When Milner left, I worried for Liverpool. A lot of football goes on in the dressing room and on the training ground. Leaders are few and far between. Leadership today is talked about in different ways. You can lead by example, lead vocally, and in all different ways." In August, following the departure of his friend and fellow fullback Trent Alexander-Arnold, Robertson was announced as the Reds' new vice-captain. The Reds enjoyed a brilliant start to the campaign, claiming victory in their opening 7 fixtures across all competitions following a penalty shootout defeat to Crystal Palace in the Community Shield at Wembley. However, a 2-1 loss at Palace in the Premier League on the 27th of September sparked a concerning run of form for the reigning champions. Liverpool head into Saturday's home clash with Nottingham Forest, having suffered defeat in 7 of their previous 10 matches across all competitions. Speaking to Asiates, McAteer said, "I am studying leadership now, and I am still old school when it comes to leadership. I know the game has changed, and I know footballers have changed. Their mindset has changed. But to have leadership qualities, you still need to be vocal. You need to upset people and point fingers. You need to be demanding. I played with some of the best leaders both on and off the pitch, and something doesn't change. Before, if it wasn't Milner, it would be Henderson. If not him, it would be Lallana or someone else." So, to come back to Andy Robertson, he is playing a lot right now, because Liverpool need him and his experience, but especially because of his leadership qualities. I think Andy Robertson is needed at Liverpool right now for a lot of different reasons. Liverpool face Bayern Munich transfer revenge after record £116 million Florian Wirtz deal. Liverpool are facing a looming centre-back shake-up. Owing to the contract situation around Ibrahima Konate, Sporting Director Richard Hughes is having to consider new options in the transfer market. Konate, 26, is out of contract at the end of the current season, and if no renewal is reached on a new deal soon, then he will be free to speak to overseas clubs in January. Liverpool would love to get a renewal over the line, particularly as right now they have only got 3 senior fit centre-backs. Liverpool facing centre-back shake-up. Obviously Giovanni Leone will come back stronger after his ACL tear suffered on debut, but elsewhere the Reds can only choose Konate. Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez, both Van Dijk and Gomez, are due to leave Anfield in 2027 when their contracts ends. And in the case of Gomez, he could even be sold before then. That's why we have seen so many central defenders linked with Liverpool in recent months. Ronald Araujo and Alessandro Bastoni are reportedly on Liverpool's list, but their priority target would appear to be Nico Schlotterbeck. Liverpool want Borussia Dortmund centre-back Schlotterbeck. The Borussia Dortmund defender is stalling over a new deal, with his current contract expiring in 2027. Schlotterbeck could therefore be sold by the Bundesliga giants in order to avoid losing him on a free. The Germany international would fetch between €40 million and €50 million in the transfer market, and it is clear Liverpool would face stiff competition. Schlotterbeck is also attracting the interest of Bayern Munich, who are looking at the left-sider as an insurance policy in case they lose Dayot Upamecano, like his fellow France international Konate at Anfield. Upamecano is out of contract in 2026, with Liverpool and Real Madrid reportedly among the teams keeping tabs on his signature. Should they lose the 26-year-old, Bayern may move for Schlotterbeck, scuppering Liverpool's transfer plans in the process. That's according to a new report in Football Insider, which claims confidence is growing at the Allianz Arena over Schlotterbeck's potential arrival. Liverpool facing Bayern competition for Schlotterbeck. Bayern Munich are keeping very close tabs on the situation due to their ongoing scenario regarding their own centre-back options, with Dayot Upamecano potentially leaving on a free transfer in the summer. The report reads, they see Schlotterbeck as being an ideal replacement for him if the Frenchman was to leave Bavaria this summer, but while Liverpool are openly looking for centre-back reinforcements, there are ongoing doubts about Ibrahima Konate and his long-term future. Virgil van Dijk is not getting any younger as well. So look, I think he's Schlotterbeck going to have plenty of options. No doubts about that. Bayern Munich will be confident that they can maybe keep him in Germany if he decides to leave Borussia Dortmund. Bayern to take Wirtz revengite would represent a remarkable coup for the German giants over Liverpool, who beat them to the signing of Florian Wirtz last summer. The 22-year-old moved to Merseyside for a fee that could reach £116 million, ignoring Bayern's attempts to keep him in the Bundesliga. But now Vincent Kompany's side could exact vengeance, denying the Reds the centre-back they need in the process. Liverpool learn Antoine Semenyo release clause as Arne Slot handed transfer deadline. Asterisk. Liverpool have received a boost in the pursuit of Bournemouth star Antoine Semenyo, as reports suggest that the Cherries have reluctantly accepted a departure. The Reds are among a host of Premier League clubs mooted with the 25-year-old, who has established himself as the latest key player in Andoni Iraola's side. The Athletic have reported that the South Coast club are under the assumption that they are powerless to prevent a departure as early as the forthcoming January transfer window. It has been claimed that a sale this winter will be sanctioned for £65 million. However, the release clause must be met by a specific date in order to let Bournemouth sign a replacement. YNWA have also claimed that Manchester City and Tottenham Hotspur, who failed in efforts to sign him in the summer, as well as Liverpool, are monitoring the 25-year-old's future ahead of the window reopening on January 1st, despite interest last summer. Semenyo signed a new 5-year deal at the Vitality Stadium. The Reds are already well aware of his qualities after he punished them during their dramatic opening day win over Bournemouth. He scored twice as the Cherries overturned a 2-goal deficit before Federico Chiesa and Mohamed Salah were on target to take the game away from the visitors. Arne Slot faces a potential headache in the coming weeks, with the Egyptian set to join his Pharaohs teammate at the forthcoming Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. Liverpool, who sit 8th in the Premier League and 8 points adrift of leaders Arsenal, could be without their star forward for up to 8 matches as they remain locked in talks with the Egypt Football Association. Their campaign gets underway on December 22nd when they face Zimbabwe, but they could look to have Salah join up with his teammates for their warm-up fixtures. The 33-year-old could miss 6 matches, depending on Egypt's progression in the tournament, with the round of 16, quarter-final, semi-final and final or third-place playoff due to be played between January 3rd and January 18th, where he could miss Leeds January 1st, Fulham January 4th, Arsenal, January 8th, FA Cup 3rd round January the 10th of September 11 and Burnley H, January 17th. As it stands, Salah will potentially face Spurs on December 20th before jetting off to Morocco. Depending on the crunch talks with the Egyptian FA, Semenyo can play across the front three, but he has been most potent from right wing, where he has scored 11 goals in 36 appearances. The attacker is just 8 appearances shy of a century of outings in England's top flight, where he has 26 goals and 12 assists since signing from Bristol City in 2023. The 25-year-old is a Ghana international but will not be at this winter's AFCON after they failed to qualify for the tournament. Harvey Elliott shows true colors during Aston Villa loan after Liverpool transfer exit. Harvey Elliott has continued to show his determination to impress during his loan spell at Aston Villa. The 22-year-old left Liverpool during the summer transfer window in order to pursue regular first-team football. Elliott made the move to Villa Park on a season-long loan on deadline day, which includes an obligation to make the move permanent for £35 million provided the condition of 10 appearances are met. The midfielder wanted to pursue a move away from Liverpool in search of more regular game time, despite being an important member of the first-team squad for former Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp. Elliott often found himself out of favour with current boss Arne Slot, who took over in the summer of 22. Elliott suffered an injury at the beginning of last season and went on to make 28 appearances across all competitions, but these only amounted to just 822 minutes on the pitch. However, despite initial hopes that he would become a key player for Unai Emery at Villa, Elliott has struggled for regular minutes while in B6 so far. The England under-21s international has made 5 appearances in all competitions for Villa, which have resulted in him featuring for fewer than 200 minutes. Elliott hasn't started a Premier League match for Villa since the end of September, with Emery not naming the playmaker in any of the last 3 matchday squads. One absence was due to him being ineligible to play against his parent club, Liverpool, but the decisions against Manchester City and Bournemouth were purely tactical. Reports the Liverpool Echo. It has been reported by The Athletic that rumors of ending Elliott's loan and returning to Liverpool in January are not true. The report claims that there is no recall clause in the agreement that saw Elliott move to Villa Park, with neither club thought to be interested in seeing the loan deal come to an early end. The report further highlights a growing frustration on the player's side, with his situation failing to improve with each passing game week. With England now having secured their spot in the World Cup, time is running out for him to make an impression on Thomas Tuchel as Elliott looks to get more minutes on the pitch after his Liverpool exit. However, one particular detail in the report appears to stand out. Elliott has apparently won over Villa staff with his positive attitude and commitment during training, despite the challenging circumstances. It's also mentioned that Elliott took on Emery's early tough love in his stride, with reference to the Villa manager's criticism of him following their 1-1 draw with Sunderland earlier in the campaign. It remains to be seen how many minutes Elliott could get for Villa, with the club's schedule set to intensify after the international break. Villa face an away trip to Leeds United in the Premier League, before facing Young Boys in the Europa League and going on to host Wolves in the top flight. Alexander Isak to create Liverpool dilemma as Arne Slot faces 5 more questions. Liverpool returns to Premier League action later this week, and Arne Slot has some big calls to make. After matches with Aston Villa and Real Madrid saw his side improve, the game with Manchester City showed some familiar issues. Next up, though, is an easier-looking run, at least on paper. Liverpool will still have to prove itself as having turned a corner defensively in terms of long balls and launch throw-ins. But games with Nottingham Forest, Leeds United and Wolves, for instance, should be ones in which the Reds are aiming for maximum points. Arsenal is currently 8 points ahead and Manchester City 7. But as we enter a crucial period, what decisions does Slot have to get right? Alexander Isak and Hugo Ekitike dilemma. For France this week, Hugo Ekitike has played a couple of different roles. While the French media was left unimpressed with him as a number 9, he did much better and scored a great goal after combining with Kylian Mbappé. When coming from the left, it is a dilemma that Slot will have to solve in the coming weeks, with Ekitike in better form than Isak, but the latter needing minutes to get back up to speed. Liverpool has to get the balance of minutes for both players right. In the first game back, Isak is not likely to be able to play a full 90 minutes anyway, After that, though, Liverpool needs to find a way of getting the most out of the pair, sometimes simultaneously. Florian Wirtz's position against Real Madrid. Florian Wirtz looked excellent off the left flank. Against Manchester City, it didn't quite work as well, though Liverpool as a whole looked jaded on that occasion. When Nottingham Forest comes to town on Saturday, Slot could pick Wirtz in that role again, or he could revert back to the number 10 plan. He could even leave him out of the starting sheet entirely, but at some point, he needs to be integrated. Wirtz isn't going to start every single game in the next run, but it feels like a crucial period for how his season, and Liverpool's more generally, will be viewed. Rack up a few wins here and the Reds will be right back on track again. Likewise, Wirtz could do with scoring and assisting a few goals against lesser opponents, having struggled to make his mark so far. Mohamed Salah question. There should not be any doubt about Mohamed Salah's position in the Liverpool team between now and when he goes away for AFC UN. Though he won't start every game either, there is still a role for the Egyptian to play before then and after it, obviously. Talk of taking him out of the firing line seems unlikely. If nothing else, there are no glaring alternatives. Salah, like Wirtz, should be looking forward to playing teams where he should be able to build some momentum. He is an answer for Liverpool moving forward, rather than a piece of the puzzle to question. Andy Robertson and Milos Kerkez battle. In the Liverpool defense, with Jeremy Frimpong still absent and Slot having limited choice at centre-back, the main question is at left-back, where Milos Kerkez and Andy Robertson are the two options. Robertson holds the jersey as things stand, but Kerkez will get chances. In the next two games, perhaps the former will get Nottingham Forest and the latter PSV, all over the field goalkeeper aside. Where Alisson Becker is set to return, there will be rotation over the next few weeks. In the case of the returning Isaac and the still integrating Wirtz, though, those calls will be especially important.
Thank you for watching. Like and comment, subscribe.